I remember the room freezing. Mom's words were still hanging in the air, sharp as broken glass. "You're the most useless child we have." The laughter and whispers stopped. All eyes turned to me. I felt something in me shift, calm, cold, precise. I stood, every movement deliberate. Then, "Stop calling me when you need money," I said. And I watched her face collapse, that perfect mask of superiority cracking in real time. That moment wasn't just victory, it was closure. But it hadn't always been like this. I flash back to the first time I trusted her. I was 14. She smiled at me as if the world belonged to us, promising guidance, love, protection. I believed her. I followed her advice without question. When she asked me to co-sign for a small loan in college, I didn't hesitate. When she whispered about family investments, I invested my trust, and every dollar I could spare. I was naive, hungry for approval. Betrayal rarely announces itself with a shout. It creeps, it tiptoes. At first it was subtle, forgotten promises, slightly altered facts, suspiciously timed phone calls. I ignored it. I wanted to believe. But patterns emerged, like shadows converging. She was siphoning money meant for bills. She lied about our father's inheritance. She manipulated my siblings against me. The final blow came in a single text. Proof of embezzlement. Undeniable. Time-stamped. My stomach dropped. Heartbreak came, but I didn't flinch. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I calculated. I spent weeks in quiet observation, studying her routines, her habits, the people she confided in. Every dinner party, every casual conversation, every shared joke became data. I tracked bank statements, cross-referenced emails, preserved screenshots. I was patient. Vengeance is an art, and artists work in silence. Then I built my blueprint. First, I secured legal counsel, crafting contracts, insurance claims, and contingency plans. Every loophole she exploited, I closed behind her. Then, quietly, I aligned allies. Siblings who had grown tired of her theatrics, friends who had witnessed her manipulations, professionals she couldn't charm. Every step was invisible, irreversible, and precise. I remembered the thrill of the final execution. The day I cut off her access to the accounts she used to siphon funds, she smiled at me over lunch, oblivious. I let her bask in her perceived control for weeks. Then came the board meeting for the family business. I presented financial reports, meticulously annotated, exposing her embezzlement, her lies, her manipulation. Her colleagues gasped. The room turned cold. She stammered. Her network of influence crumbled in real time. And the best part? She couldn't blame me. Every document, every record, every step traced back to her choices. Finally, the confrontation. It wasn't a shout. It wasn't a fist. It was a look. A single, piercing gaze that held every betrayal, every sleepless night, every quiet tear I had endured alone. She faltered under the weight of her own actions. I spoke softly, deliberately, letting each word land. "I told you I wouldn't let you use me again." Her mask shattered entirely in that moment. Pride, power, authority, gone. I felt no triumph in the destruction itself, only in the justice of its precision. It was psychological, surgical, perfect. And then came the final closure. Standing here, at the family dinner, where she tried to humiliate me again in front of everyone. She didn't know I had prepared this. When she said it, the words meant to wound me, I saw an opening. I used them, returned them like a mirror she couldn't escape. Everyone froze, her face drained of color. I had weaponized truth and timing. The air vibrated with stunned silence. For once, she was the powerless one. I don't feel glee. I feel the steady warmth of equilibrium restored. Betrayal had been met with patience, planning, and precision. I've reclaimed control, dignity, and my voice. I take a slow breath, letting the room absorb the lesson. My voice, calm and unwavering, carries the weight of every year she underestimated me. The past is gone, but the balance is finally mine. And in that silence, in the aftermath of her collapse, I realize the truth I've held all along. You don't need to fight with anger. You fight with strategy. You fight with clarity. And when it lands, the world stops. Everyone stops breathing. I sit down. Victory tastes quiet.